The other thing, of course, that's happened, which has got people really quite divided, is the Alex Belfield sentencing. And
Yes.
Alex Belfield, YouTuber, really a sort of former DJ, comedian, not a journalist. He changed the idea. He went from I'm not a journalist to saying I'm a journalist because there's certain things that you can get in law if you're a journalist that covers you. And many people believe that this is about free speech. I disagree. Have it because a lot of the people who are saying it's about free speech haven't actually read the judgment. And the judgment clearly sets out a campaign of harassment and stalking against a number of people. And one of them went on for 10 years, 10 plus years. And Sean, I don't know if you've ever been on the receiving end of people, of somebody who focuses on you and they know your every move and they contact your loved ones and they email you and they talk about you online, but it's horrible. And
Yep.
when you're in the public eye, to a certain degree, like us, you have to ignore it. You have to. That's why Jeremy Vine, I don't have necessarily a great deal of sympathy with him. And I think people are distracted because it involves Jeremy Vine. But Jeremy Vine is one of the lesser sentences.
Yes,
It's only
he is.
13 weeks for Jeremy Vine's.
Simple stalking.
Yes, exactly. And so do you have worries that this will impact free speech in any way? Because obviously some of the conviction was down to his online output, YouTube's and Twitter, for example.
I think it's important in the sense of like, he actually was harassing these people. So based off what I can go off, so obviously the BBC tried to harass my sister and they tried to track her down and they messaged her on her Instagram and Facebook. If that would have continued, I would have probably taken them to court. And that was only based off 2 messages. So if you're talking something for 10 years, and the content that he was sending to them is quite extreme. Now, it has happened to me before, but in a different way. I had to get the police involved because someone was pretending to be me, and I've got quite a young fan base. And then they were trying to get my fans off Instagram to download another private app called Google Hangouts, where they were then turning the conversation quite sexual to my young fans, pretending to be me.
Oh, mate.
So I had to get the police involved straight away. They tried to find the guy's IP address, shut down the account and stuff. And then I had to actually speak to specific people's mums and be like, your daughter is talking to someone who's not me.
No.
So the level of like not having control over what somebody does to you on the internet is a worry sometimes. But at the same time, right now, free speech is the most important thing to be kind of fighting for.
100%. 100%.
Digital IDs.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm very clear in that is I don't align with what Alex Belfield has done. That was not in the course of journalism. It wasn't. He contacted someone's mum. He contacted someone's pregnant wife.
He's talking about kids and
yeah, exactly. And saying to somebody, I'm suing you and the court costs are going up. And that is like pure intimidation, threats and harassment. And it's just awful when you are on the receiving end of that sort of, craziness, frankly. Yeah. And I'm hopeful, actually, that what this will do is set a precedent to stop these online stalkers, not to stop free speech, not to stop BNTs or YouTubes or any other videos on video sharing platforms, to stop online stalkers, because they haven't had a great deal of power to do that up to now. But this is 4 convictions in once, the most for anybody, right? So, 5.5 years, which he'll serve 2.5 inside and then the rest on license unless he does something bad. So I think it's very interesting, but I don't think for a second it's the free speech fight that some people want us. This is not Julian Assange.
No.
Right?
Obviously the issue is, will they have control over being able to say what's harassment online and what isn't?
Right.
So it could be to the point where, based off this case now, if I literally just said something that is deemed harassment.
Yeah, we don't want to get into those situations. That would be a proper infringement of your freedom of speech.
Yeah, that's fascism, really, because it's the government. It's the only people I want to insult, and they won't let me do it.
Well, exactly, which is why we can't afford a cashless society, because they'll have other ways to stop you doing it.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing that I noticed about a lot of Belfield supporters, almost all of them compared it, said, well, you know, it's not right. He got that for a few words on the internet, but grooming gangs, and it's like, are you all speaking from, but grooming gangs got nothing, or rapists got nothing? And it's like, yes, thank you. You're absolutely right. Rapists hardly ever are convicted. They are hardly ever in prison. So please, yes, do campaign for higher rates for rapists, absolutely, but don't campaign.
The justice system's broken.
It's broken, man. And but what they're doing by default is they're campaigning for lesser charges and lesser sentences for stalkers. No, mate, he's a stalker. He got done for stalking, and rightfully so. I'd be the first person, Sean, to say this is a setup. This is the government doing
yeah,
this.
because we thought it first.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It's not nothing to do with the government, nothing to do with the BBC. This is one man who carried out a campaign of essentially terror against people and raised funds on the basis that he was apparently suing the BBC, which he has never done.
Right, wow.
Never done. So yeah, so that's kind of our take on it. Don't think it's necessarily about freedom of speech. Do think it's about stalking. But I do think that it's a watch this space kind of thing, because I am aware that there's at least 2 more people who are looking to press charges now against him. So that's going to be interesting. Absolutely.